So you want the best price, get to that website.
Yeah, that's excellent. The bet that he's put on himself, he's gone Panthers into the unders, into Brian To'o, into the first half being the highest scoring half of the two halves, which I guess is like a 50%er. So
that's an unusual combo.
Yeah, he's an unusual
That's certainly
bloke.
one we haven't seen this year.
He's a very.
Can the producer give us what price he got?
We've got $11.75 with Sportsbet. So
okay,
it's. I mean, I guess I don't mind the unders because I think it probably won't be a blowout. And Brian To'o's, he's scoring a lot of tries. The first half's people are more tired than the second half, so they generally. But anyway, it's another. If it gets up, it's another $587.50 to go with the 1,300 that Willie wins.
Well, they don't call them exotics for nothing, so
they do.
I kind of like it. It's good fun. It's good fun.
So, mate, what have you got? Because this really is your last chance for you to redeem yourself. It's been very, very lean year for you.
It has, outside of round 2, but I've gone the other way. I think Penrith win the grand final by 1 to 12 points. I think Matt Burton scores. I think Stephen Crichton scores. And I think Cody Walker scores for South Sydney. All at any time. Roll that all together and Sportsbet will give me $49.75.
That's good price. That is a good price.
I was stunned at the price when I generated it this morning. Yeah. Absolutely stunned.
Yeah, it almost pays as much as Willie's bet. Officially.
Well, look.
There might be some figures that come up on the social media, but they're wrong. That's not right. Ren, what do you got?
Mate, he's rushed me into putting my bet on today. I was trying to go surfing, so I've kept it conservative. Rabbitohs 1 to 12. Brian To'o to score at any time and Alex Johnson to score at any time.
I like it. I like that.
All right. Rennie's backing his junior club, coming through the bunny system.
I have
Rabbitohs 1 to 12. Look,
come on, Rennie.
I wouldn't be able to walk through the streets of Maroubra if I backed Penrith.
Nah. The 2 try-scoring legs absolutely love, and I think to include either the Rabbitohs, it becomes a toss of the coin job at that point, and to get $12 for that, look, I think that with Ladbrokes is, that's a really good bet if you do fancy Souths and you don't just want to take them in the head-to-head. If you want to get a little bit of value, take the $12 that Rennie has. You might be smiling on Sunday night.
You might be. Let's hope we're all smiling. Yeah. Let's hope. Honestly,
there is absolutely no way that we can all smile at once. But if there has to be one bet up, get up. I'm sorry, but Willie's has to get up.
Oh. If we see Fisher Harris score in the first 10 minutes,
it's on.
Let's go.
It's on. Yeah. No.
Start the car.
Honestly, we have been pretty average this year. The total that we've got so far is $4,355. So, assuming we win nothing this weekend, which let's be honest is probably, it's for some junior club that will be.
It's a shitload of gear, man.
Yeah, we joke about it, but thanks to bettingsite.com.au, there is the opportunity for us to give. We probably won't be able to give it away to 2 clubs like we did last year because we did better last year. But
we got 20 grand last year, eh?
10.
Oh, 10. Okay.
Willie tax.
I mean, we got 5.
But, we are going to be able to give, thanks to bettingsite.com.au, we're going to be able to give away a lot of money to a junior club and a deserving junior club. So keep those videos coming in. Mate, thank you once again for what you're doing for us and what we can now do for some lucky junior clubs. So, mate, we really appreciate all your time this year. And if your bet gets up, I promise that I will apologise to you for the introduction of this week's show.
Look, I want a nice, strongly worded written apology in your own handwriting. And it's been a great pleasure to come on every week and shoot the breeze and try and find a few winners with some ridiculous multis. So all the best going forward.
All right, mate. Thanks,
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
See you guys.
See you, mate.
I'm going to say it this week because you haven't. But everyone other than don't take Willie's bet because that's not gambling responsibly. Take my bet. That's gambling responsibly. Everyone. Gamble responsibly. All right, well, the grand final has been decided for season 2021. There were obviously the 2 games on the weekend, the Manly Souths game on Friday night. We gave you the Sea Eagles to preview last week, William, and you were not that positive about them. And
There's a reason.
your lack of positivity paid off because they got pumped.
I know. This is what we've seen coming. Like, I just don't think anyone is shocked about this. Because, the Eagles did very well to get to the preliminary final. They've, and that was all on the back of Tom Trbojevic. Like, don't get it twisted, Like, Manly's a pretty good side, but let's, you take Tom out of this game and you're pretty much on your way. And they did that. South did that. They didn't do a Melbourne job on him, but they did enough.
Yeah.
They don't have defensive systems like Melbourne. They don't work as hard as Melbourne do. Nobody does really. But yeah, they did their job. You got Tom out of the game. You dominated their forwards, and you just scored tries on the edge. It was pretty easy. It didn't look like a preliminary final, did it, Ren?
Nah, not at all. I mean, Sea Eagles haven't beat a top 4 side all year.
No.
And a lot of young players, a lot of inexperienced players in the Manly side.
Yep.
They're going to be better off for it in the coming years. They've got a huge amount of talent. But, South needed to make a statement. Especially going into this grand final, they needed to really put a stamp on this game, and people are talking about South potentially winning the grand final now because they showed, obviously against Penrith, they were premiership contenders because no one expected them to beat Penrith, so they needed to go out and put in a good performance against Manly. There was a couple of concerning things from the Rabbits. I think their completion rate, they made 11 errors. You can't make 11 errors against the Panthers. 34 missed tackles. That's something they need to fix, especially against Penrith.
Yeah.
So, everyone expected the Rabbitohs to win. They did enough, but they need to go to another level to beat Penrith.
They weren't tested, were they?
They weren't really tested, no.
I think if Tom had scored that try, put the ball down, and if they let that first try, the try that was on their right edge go through, there was another call which was similar to the week before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the decoy coming through and Reynolds coming over. It looked pretty clean just watching it normally. Then you slow it right down, then, that player blocks the other player from getting to the ball. He falls over, plays his part, and no try. I think it would have been a different game because Manly looked like they could score most of the time when they were down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were down there twice. They scored twice, but they messed it up. It wasn't like their defense was championship defense. Like you look at Penrith and you look at Melbourne. You look like no one can score. You got to score off kicks. You got to score off deflections against these blokes. You rarely can just score a try where the Rabbits were scoring against the Eagles, where you just play numbers and hands and like hit holes and all that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't work.
So what do you reckon Manly need to do next year to improve? Like where do you reckon?
Oh, they got some big improvement. They're going to lose Reynolds. They lose Gagai.
No, Manly.
Oh, Manly. Okay. Just build on this year. Have a plan B for when Tom gets taken out of the game. When they're trying to kick, when they continuously kick it down their left edge to get to Saab. So when Tom gets it on the second hit up, he carries with his right hand instead on the right side, he comes with his open side so he can step off his right foot, and he can pass that way as well. When they pass this way to Saab doesn't come at you that hard.
No.
Not the toughest kid. And then so when he comes out of that back edge, Tom gets it from either first receiver or dummy half, and the markers get him quite easy because he doesn't have that blistering pace like Pappenhausen and all that sort of blokes. And then he seems to come that way and he straightens up. Even though he doesn't get belted, it's still a 3-man tackle. And then he's out of the set of 6, and they go the other side. You know what I mean? They need someone else.
They need to work on their edge defense. Their centers and both their back rowers are both inexperienced. Come up with some poor decisions defensively. I think that's where they really need to improve. Their forward pack's solid, especially with Jake Trbojevic in the middle. They can really tighten that up. But for me, it's their edge defence that needs fixing, and I think that'll be a big emphasis on their preseason.
And then you have a look at like who's on their edge. Schuster first year. He's not the quickest bloke, doesn't look the most athletic. Olakau'atu, big guy. He looks like a front row to me in a couple of years. Yeah. I think he wouldn't be get as lost in the middle. He's a big body. He wants to get in there and bang. but he's on that edge. You got to play like pretty much like a back. You know what I mean? You're part of that left four or right four, and so that's what all the combinations and that they'll work on in the preseasons will be way better next year, because I don't think anybody thought Schuster and Olakau'atu would have been starting in the back row at the start of the year. No. You know what I mean? So if they improve that, you got Jake, you got the two props, you know, you got a pretty good side still.
What do you reckon about Moses Sully not getting much of a go this year?
Well, you have a look at that Harper kid. The kid, I think he was sitting in Parramatta reserve grade, played a couple of first grade games over there, but he got an opportunity when Sully was injured, and he took it with both hands and had a great year. So that's just one of those years where, you know, Sully, it's not like you got Mark Gasnier coming back.
No.
You know what I mean? He didn't really warrant that person getting taken out. He had to play himself out. Kid didn't play himself out. You know, so I would have picked Sully a lot earlier, but like he just didn't play himself out. And Des is pretty solid like that, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know?
Probably.
And he probably would have known Sully was leaving, so I was like, you know what? Why would I pick him?
He's Sully, very powerful runner, but his IQ of the game isn't where it needs to be. He makes a lot of poor reads in defence. A few errors here and there, but he's definitely a player that, you know, he'd be a handy pickup for any side because
he gets coached the right way. He just needs a couple of things peeled back and go back to the fundamentals and like defensive stuff. And because I don't think he got coached. He was just one of those kids, Sully, that just went on the dream ride straight to first grade without even getting coached.
Just being
a big, strong ball runner. Give the ball to Sully. Yeah. Don't coach him about like the different looks he's going to get in defence when he gets to first grade. He's one of the kids flew to first grade, and then he's got to learn everything again.
Trust me, knowing Des, he would have got coached. He would have been in that.
But before that, like he improved a hell of a lot when he got to Des.
Yeah.
But like the run up there from the Tigers to the Dogs, and then he got shifted around. Then he went to Manly. Then he started playing really well. You know, so like, he's just one of those players that need to like really go back to the basics defensively, because it's hard defensive centre, man. Because he wants to get in there and just run over everyone. It's not about that anymore.
The other game was probably the big boil over. I mean, Ren picked it. Ren, he's genius now.
What made you pick?
I just don't think it's a bad thing losing that first semi-final.
No, we've done that before.
Yeah, exactly, and you know. We
Still,
mentioned the Cowboys. It really kicked them into gear, and everyone wrote them off. But they're a young, enthusiastic side, and they've got an arrogance about them. They wanted to prove everyone wrong, and you know, really shut everyone up. You know, and that's why I just couldn't rule them out, because they've been the best defensive side all year. They've got strike everywhere. They've got, you know, some great young players, and I just thought that loss was the kick up the arse they needed.
Yeah.
So,
I thought, and I mean, obviously, I said last week, I felt like when the Panthers are playing well, it's when, whether you call it arrogance or whatever, they look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
And Luai and To'o, they looked Crichton, they looked like they were having fun again on the weekend. I think their forwards laid the platform, but they just looked like they were enjoying it again. And, you know, that was good. I think the Storm, to some extent, shat the bed. They were just so unlike the way the Storm normally play. And Bellamy was obviously pretty disappointed after the game, but they lose a bit. I thought this year, when they lose Cameron Smith, they might have lost a bit, but next year, losing Finucane and a couple of others, Adokar and Hines.
Yeah, Finucane and Asafa Solomona was probably their two best players. The thing for me with Penrith is that everyone was into them about their attack. And the first thing they did in transition was start moving the ball. We spoke about it last week. They needed to come up with something different. They rely on their power play. You know, they'll kick long, you know, take it up through the middle. They just grind you down till you force an error. They'll put on a play within the 20-metre zone of the opposition. But what they did when Melbourne kicked the ball is they started shifting the ball. They made the Melbourne defensive side move. You know, they were scrambling all game, and they didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah, Ren, we've been speaking about this to try and give the other sides the sort of key to how to beat the Storm.
Yeah.
And little things like this. So just say you got a penalty coming out of your in 40 and you kick it on their 40. Just say that. Usually they'd take one or two, most teams, one or two rucks, and you're pretty much in the middle of the field. And then you can go left or you can go right, traditionally. They were going pass, and then out the back, and then having a crack at him straight away. Therefore, your middles come up, have no contact, and then you got to go back, and then you got to go towards the ball again. So your middles are traveling again, and then you're situated right on the sideline, and then they're coming back to the middle of the field. You're moving again, and then you're just non-stop shifting. And then it coincided with Welsh and Brandon Smith getting injured because they were moving around a lot. There's a lot of big contact early, but then the fatigue factor come in. And Melbourne looked more tired than Penrith because their middles, Kamikamica doesn't usually play big minutes. Big Nas wasn't playing that many big minutes. Jesse Bromwich wasn't playing massive minutes. They were stretched. And they're big boys. Melbourne rely on every single player. It's not just about 12 or 13 players or 10, make sure these guys are on. 17 players got to do the job for their wheel just to non-stop. They just go and go and go and go. They're hard to stop. But it looked like Penrith got him. Yeah. Penrith, they had Leota out. You know what I mean? They lost Pangai Jr. They had some players there, but like Penrith didn't stop. Sorensen was a beast. Capewell was a beast.
Yeah, they were.
Fucking Yeo was a beast.
They were. Isaiah Yeo, so he's been a bit quiet in the first couple of semi-finals, but again, he was the difference. He was that link. He gets the ball on the A defender. He skips to the third defender. He creates spaces on the edges. When Brian Tortle scored that try, he creates spaces on those edges. So their defence was just relentless. And then you had the inexperienced players from Melbourne that will coming up with fundamental errors. That
Remus Smith, Jennings.
Without naming names, but
there's names there.
I don't, obviously, it was tough for them because
it's not a criticism.
16 errors.
Too many errors, but they were under pressure from Penrith's defence being relentless. Yeah. Their line speed, in your face. Even Harry Grant, his decision making out of dummy half.
Questionable.
He's never had I've never seen him have a game like that. He was obviously a couple of times he was trying to pass the ball too late, trying to be a bit too creative. Yeah. They were coming up with errors, and every time they got on a bit of a roll, they'd drop the ball on the fourth or the fifth tackle, and they just could not break.
Then they would grow. Penrith would grow. Like, even though I look at the Storm and go, you should have caught that. Even though it was in traffic and stuff, you still got to catch those balls as a first grade player. You need to catch those balls in contact. But for Penrith, on the flip side, bang, that's our defence. That's in contact. So you grow and grow and grow as a team. You get stronger and stronger. And the more they drop, the stronger Penrith got. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't about, they're just dropping cold balls in front of us. No, it's our pressure from our defence that's making Remus Smith and Jennings and all these blokes, Kamikamica, these rookies pretty much, drop the ball.
Basic errors.
When the fucking foot was on the throat,
yeah.
There was those players that were coming up with the mistakes.
You always expect Melbourne just to turn it around at some point. It was like 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in. All of a sudden it's 10 minutes to go and they're trying to chase those points. The only person for me that really stood up and looked dangerous was Jerome Hughes.
He was good.
Yeah, he was outstanding. He takes the line on. Not many halves like him take the line on. Yeah, and I thought he was outstanding.
Big Nas was good too. Big Nasty was come off the bench. He was going hard.
And Dale. Finucane was great as well.
Finucane left it all out. There's 73 minutes in the middle. It's ridiculous what he does. But I looked at the Panthers go, that was a ballsy win, man. Kickout was outstanding off the bench. Like Sorensen, Pangai Jr. come after Welsh so hard at the start of the game. But I think losing Welsh and losing Brandon Smith, two starting middles in the first 15 minutes.
Huge.
It's massive. I don't think people understand that. It's hard to cover. That's what I said, because Kamikamica's got to get more minutes. You know what I mean? So it really stretched them, especially in the last 20 minutes. Where did you watch the pace of the game?
Yeah.
Like, compared to the first minute, I think it was like 72 minutes in. It was like they were walking the poor buggers. They're just fucking warriors, mate. Yeah. Everyone who's took that field on the weekend, hats off. Nothing but respect. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, Penrith's best player throughout these semi-finals has been Stephen Crichton. He's come up with some unbelievable carries out of the backfield, and he's saved a fair few tries. Yeah. I mean, he's been outstanding. Yeah. Out of the three, everyone speaks about Luai and Cleary, But Steve Crichton, I think he's been the best player throughout the
And
semi-final.
Dylan Edwards.
Dylan Edwards.
He got to over 240 metres last week. We sort of flew over that a little bit. Yeah, we should get that. But like this week, he was everywhere. He was that link man. Especially we've been going about how they how you got to attack early. So he was getting the number one thing is that one of your ball players need to get in at first receiver as well. And he was getting in there first receiver, skipping across and just making them work. Yeah. Like he got in at first receiver about 8 times.
He took some tough carries.
And he took some real tough carries, but because he's hard to hit and he's very evasive. It's not because he's fast or massively strong. He's very evasive, so he moved the middles around even more. He was stepping around. It's like Tchaikovsky, you know. I remember him, he was just fucking annoying trying to tackle him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to rip his head off, but you can't get fucking near him. Yeah. This is what this kid's like. He was sort of dancing around, throwing little dummies here, making the middles move. Like he did that about 8, 9 times and it just frustrated the middles a lot. Because you can't get a clean hit on the kid. So he was outstanding.
A big thing, and I'd be interested in both of your takes on this because the week before, obviously, the Penrith-Parramatta game was a pretty brutal game. And people thought, oh, well, Penrith will probably struggle and they're coming into the Storm about a week off.
Yeah.
There's no question that Storm-Penrith game was a lot tougher physically than what Souths had to deal with against Manly. You come into the grand final week, how much is that going to play a toll and how much do you get to a point where everyone's injured in a grand final, it's been a long year, and you just have to get through it?
All right, there you go.
I just think it's a relief for them. You know, the pressure was to get to the grand final because they lost that one game. They're young kids. They're jumping out of their skin for this game now. I don't think fatigue's going to play a factor at all in this grand final.
Yeah.
I agree. I think South has got there relatively easily, like injury wise. You know, obviously they weren't as tough games as Parramatta and Storm. So Panthers are battle hardened. I'll be thinking nothing but positivity if I'm the coach or if I'm in that sort of team environment. We're built for this. We had a big run in last year, got to the grand final. Now this is our year. Like that's the sort of talk that's going to be going on during the week. Like we fucking battled. Parramatta was a battle. Storm, that's like 2 grand finals in a row. Pretty much what they had to play for. And then you got this. Now we're here. One game, let everything go. Everything on the line. Push all your coins to the middle. You know what I mean? Fisher Harris, all these little injuries, and Toto and Luai and Cleary. Now they can really let everything off. No more games, no Kangaroo Tour, no World Cup, no nothing. Leave everything out there. And this is you're gonna get the best Penrith.
When do the nerves start?
Now.
Like, are you
Today.
nervous all week?
Today.
Or are you like,
I think you would have got through the weekend, and then once Monday comes, because then you don't even review the weekend, who cares? And then bang, Monday it starts. Photos, grand final photos, Dally M's, all that sort of shit. Everything happens now. Everything starts now. So that's up to the coaches to try and get into their ear. And last year, like the Penrith being there last year, this is pretty easy for these guys.
And were you the same, Ren? Were you the whole week just like not nervous about the game, but just it was just the only thing you were thinking about? Is there any way you can escape from the pressure of knowing that it's coming?
I think it's more about enjoying the week. I mean, you have so many fan days and, you know, everyone's focusing on you. There wasn't nerves.
Oh, yeah, not nerves. I don't think it's just nerves. Because you just switch on for the grand final. I don't think it was nerves. Everyone was just... Okay, hung over for a couple of days too. I think that was like you don't really come to until about Wednesday. Serious.
I think the nerves really hit once you just walk in that dressing room. Once it becomes a reality when you walk, the bus pulls up at that stadium, and that's when
game day.
That's when the nerves start to kick in. But I think they're just going to enjoy the week.
Constantly, all week, you're just constantly thinking about it. You think about it, little bits, and then you just sort of hanging out with the boys, and it's too much fun. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Like you got to really enjoy it, and I think we did. Like every week, no one was really stressed. No one was. We just didn't know. I'd never been to a grand final. The only person that's played in the grand final was Tony Grimaldi and Andrew Ryan.
Yeah,
they both got beat. So who cares?
Do you reckon that there'd be less involved? Like, they don't do the grand final breakfast and that anymore, but...
No, yeah, we did that. That was mad. Yeah, all that shit was fun.
Had a laugh. Yeah, it was good.
Fun, man.
It's good.
The grand final breakfast was mad.
Yeah.
We stayed in a hotel the night before. Russell Crowe rang me. It's fucking hilarious.
What'd Russell want?
I think he was in gladiator mode. It was about 2004, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been.
Serious, yeah. I think I told that last year, the story when he rang me.
So you look at the game and you look at the fact that the Panthers are favourites in this game. I think that Souths should be favourites for this game. I can see why the Panthers are because they've been the dominant side all year and they've done everything that has been asked of them. But I just feel like Souths, I don't know, Ren, what do you reckon? I know that you say Souths have made a lot of errors coming into this game from the game before and they need to tighten things up. But that South side has got points in it, regardless of how well the Penrith side defend.
They do. Their left edge is the best attacking weapon in the competition.
Ever.
I think for Penrith, they're going to be fully aware of what sort of attack South are going to be throwing at them on that left edge. I think South need to come up with some plays on the right edge, go away from trying to attack that right edge of Penrith. For me, I think South really need to target Jerome Luai and Viliami Kikau. I think there's meters to be made with Jerome Luai. I don't think his tackle effectiveness is up to not up to standard. He just does a job and relies on his centres or his back row to protect him. So for me, if I'm South, especially coming out of the backfield area in transition, there's definitely meters to be made on Penrith's left edge. What we call a bob set, so a blind open blind. I'd be going to the middle, back to the right edge of back to the left edge of Penrith. I'd be targeting Viliami Kikau. I'd be working him over. I'll be trying to. You're not going to win a battle with Penrith with their forwards in the middle. They're too strong. They're the best at holding, slowing down the ruck in defence as well. And again, like we spoke about before, the intensity of the bench. The bench is vital in this game to be able to match the intensity of Penrith. Tom Burgess, Jai Arrow, Jacob Host, Benji, they need to come on and just keep that momentum going once the starting pack, obviously do their job in the middle. Give Cameron Murray a rest, give Jaden Sewer a rest, and then just lift again. That's the way I see South trying to... And Adam Reynolds is kicking game.
Didn't kick Mars last week, did he?
Well, he's got a bit of a groin issue.
Yeah, so he needs to...
And South's back five, they really need to get on the front foot. They need to find the ground. They can't just rely on Cameron Murray to get the quick play of the balls. Because of Penrith's defence being so good, they need to fight tooth and nail to get up and play that ball quickly. So Damien Cook comes into the game and just be able to create a bit of momentum to get on the front foot, go forward. Otherwise, Penrith, they'll just get numbers in the tackle, hold you down, and just like Melbourne, they won't have any options to attack.
It's like what you were saying about with trying to get to Luai and kick out, but it's about like getting there and staying there. You got to get to him straight away, and because Cody Walker doesn't play both sides of the ruck, he needs to drift over that right side. Sometimes he does. I know that, but sometimes he should just be more dominant on both sides. You know what I mean? Even Reynolds, if he sees it, so it's up to Reynolds. If they kick. They kick back that way, and then he's coming towards them in the middle of the field. They need to just go right straight away to get to kick out and Luai. And once you sit on that numbers line, so to speak, you just go blind. As Ren said, you jam him, you get him, try and get him at marker, and you make him make three tackles in that set. So most players we used to try and go against who would come under fatigue quite quickly, you used to go 3 for 3. 3 sets in a row and make them tackle 3 times in that set. Usually you're fucked. You know what I mean? Because you're getting every single angle. It's not even about running directly at him. You're running near him, so it's a legs tackle. They come in third man. They come in second man. You know, you're involved with tackles all the time. So even 3 to 4 times a set. And you just do that till you're done. Because kick out, he gets fatigued.
He does.
And you've got to tire him out in defence. You know what I mean? And same as Luai. They do get fatigued, you know? So you just got to keep going at him and at him and at him. So the right side back row, Jaden, so I just want to give him early ball. Once he stays there, then Cam Murray needs to start doing his stuff, digging in behind the rucks. But don't go on that long shift all the time and rely on your left edge. Yeah, they rely on that so much. And Penrith will be putting that extra number there because they won't go to the right side.
They scramble well.
And they scramble like the best team. So, yeah, if you're South Sydney, you'd be looking at that. Really.
So how do you see the game playing itself out?
Well, I think the Rabbits will win, personally, because I think they're a lot fresher and they've got more strike. I don't think you take Cleary's kick out. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't look like they were scoring, and that was a bad defensive read from Melbourne when Toto scored. Like, I think those tries you can defend against. They're not hitting holes on an edge. They're not like scoring like just really clean tries. They look like they're struggling for points. They honestly do. And I just don't think South ever struggle for points.
No.
And I think they're in the hardest thing mentally they've been getting over now is the 3 defeats they've had in the preliminary. Now they're at the big dance. Let loose. Defensively, they're going to be sound. But I think Campbell Graham needs to be utilised a lot more. You know what I mean? He's a big, long body.
Yeah.
And that left edge for Penrith never get exposed.
Yeah.
Never, ever, because everyone just keeps going to the other side because everyone loves passing right to left. It's a lot simpler. You know, like it's just...
They got him on the right edge in that first semi. So I'd be going right as much as I can. Obviously, that left... What else I'd be doing is they rely on that left edge attack South. I'd have a backup play for the next tackle. So attack for attack.
Yeah, that's what. If they go on that long shift and they sort of get to gags or thing, they got to come back with something. Yeah. Because that's where you got to understand defensively as well. They're going to come. The Penrith guys will come up. They've got to move all the way back, and then they've got to go to the ball. Then you're going to see some stragglers around the post. That's where you attack, where Jaden Sewer and that can come in, because then defensively, you're going to have Kikau and all those blokes pushing in, so they're going to be inside that left post. You know what I mean? And that's when you got to strike the 2 pass and then bang. And then even have the option out around the back. And that's where I think Benji Marshall comes in as that great link guy, especially later in the halves when it's that 2 pass. You can have Jaden leading and you're going to have a fullback around the back. It's just, they're going to have a lot of options, because I think you just got to have about 3 or 4 shots at Penrith.
Yeah.
You got to keep firing.
They do need to stay patient, but I think they need to offload as well, create some second phase play. I think they can really test Penrith out with some second phase play. As long as they're not pushing it too much, they need to complete well over 85%. They cannot turn the ball over against Penrith.
Well, we're not all unanimous, because Harry's picked the Panthers, but we have all picked the
South.
The Rabbitohs. Reni's by 1 and Willie's by 14. So we've got a full 13 plus, just on 14. So, Ren, you think it'll be nice and close?
Nice and close. Reynolds will kick a field goal.
Field goal from 40 out?
No, that'll be 2 points.
2 point.
Just saying. If you're
they might be 1 behind, and then he kicks a 2 point field
I feel for young Blake Taff this week, because if they don't have good kick pressure.
Damien Cook's got a big job. He tackles. He does a lot of kick pressure. He's very responsible for that. Totola, Nichols. No, Nichols couldn't get. He hasn't got much leg speed. Like Jaden Sewell, if they're on that right edge, the back row's got some big jobs, man. You're trying to get it Cleary, because he just fucking puts them right. It'll be a kickoff.
Yeah.
Adam Reynolds versus Cleary. You know, they're both great kickers.
Best in the game.
Cody Walker's. You know, Jerome Lewar's got a boot on him. They didn't even utilise Matt Burton, probably got the best boot out of everyone on that team.
And the key for Penrith is Isaiah. He is
the link man.
He's a link for their attack. He creates all their opportunity. South need to put his head on a plate.
I wonder what he'd beep test.
28.
He'd beat it.
Yeah, I reckon he does 2 beep tests. He does 2 beep tests, I reckon. But he just doesn't stop, does he?
He's so good at what he does when he carries the ball. Defensively sound. But the way he carries the ball, he has to be the biggest target for South this week. They can't give him an opportunity to get over to the B and C defenders, create the opportunity to pass out the back to Cleary and give the edges opportunities.
Because I think they're pretty much going to have that same attack on South, like especially from starting plays when they go shift, bang bang, 2 pass out the back, and he makes that look easy, yo.
Yeah.
Like, you know how hard it's a 2 pass. The line speed is coming out, and he hits the fullback or Luai on the back, out the back, quite easily, right on the chest. That's a pressure pass. So I think South will be up to that defensively. They'll know that's happening. So that left 4 or right 4 will be line speed into that second receiver, and especially the guy out the back. You can game plan for that. If you know what's on, if you know the 2 pass shifts on, you can come out and shut that off. If everyone's on board, and I think South will be on board with all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a good game, man. I'm glad it's 2 Sydney teams as well.
in Brisbane.
Yeah, fucking hell. That's awful.
First time for two
We had a
Sydney
great
sides.
time. But I just think, it's great to see the Panthers back there. Yeah. But I think everyone's just happy that Melbourne's not in there, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks a bit
Same
like
fucking team.
And the Roosters. I'll tell you what, though. I know how much, almost 20 years on, it means to the two of you to have both played in a grand final and to have won it. And so congratulations to all 34 players. It's a massive achievement. It's something they'll remember for the rest of their lives. And good luck to everyone. That concludes this week's episode, the grand final. We have got some winners to announce, though, because we are handing out a heap of stuff. Some GI, Strive with GI T-shirts, some Young Henrys, all sorts of stuff. Someone's going in the draw for some Yamaha headphones. And the winners this week, I'm proud to announce Todd Greasley, who thinks I have 0%. He said I got 0% knowledge. Love you, Todd. He said we've gone from 50% when I'm on it with you, and now Ren's on it, so 66. So for those of you that know maths, that means I'm at 0%. So Todd's won. Well done, Todd. Scott Hodge and Brendan Justice. That's quite the name. Brendan
Johnny Justice.
That sounds like a made-up name. That's a producer. Anyway, you're all getting some stuff, so congratulations. So for everybody else, thanks for listening. We've had a great year, actually. We'll be back.
We'll be back grand final day? No?
We'll be back next week.
Review, preview.
Everybody, rate, review, and subscribe. I can't hear what the producer's saying. He's saying something. He just gibbers. He's got this awful beard. It gets in the way. He's got food stuck in it. Can't hear what he's saying. Anyway, join us soon.
Glory, glory.
Big Willie actually is. Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Plus. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney,